This is the Tigers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Oh, baby, another dominant victory for the Detroit Tigers. Back-to-back statement wins over the New York Yankees, and we are here to tell you all about it. It's an 11-1 win. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. And the roadmap's very simple on tonight's episode. It's gushing over another solid victory for the Detroit Tigers in dominant fashion. We'll talk about the statement that it made, and how about Gleyber Torres? He was the catalyst early on, and then the rest of his Old English D wearing friends joined in on the party late. And just like last night, you had an absolute snowball effect offensively. And oh, by the way, Jack Flaherty was really good tonight as well, and an opportunity for a sweep. As always, we'll have our biggest talking point, our turning point, and oh yeah, our player of the game as well. So buckle up, dial it in. Make sure you like today's video. Everybody on the stream, do me a favor, like the video. It goes a long way for the old YouTube algorithm. And then go ahead and subscribe to Locked On Tigers if you haven't already, and check out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley, the daily show. That's what's on tap for you, and your comments are always welcome. We'll try to mix in as many as we can, but man, that's the crazy thing about baseball. And that's where I wanted to start tonight, because I was negative on Sunday. I was down in the dumps. I think a lot of us were on Sunday. It was back-to-back series losses at home, where the Tigers have been so good, with the second series being to the lowly Chicago White Sox. And you felt down in the dumps a little bit. And Monday was the off day to regroup, refresh, and lo and behold, the Tigers come out and make back-to-back statements with double-digit wins over the New York Yankees. And oh, by the way, have now won the season series against the New York Yankees. It's been quite a while since that. And I believe the stat they ended with was this is the first time the Tigers have won back-to-back games by double digits against the New York Yankees since 1906. Crazy stuff. So that's a lot to take away. It's a lot to digest. So let me just take a deep breath here, because I'm just getting excited talking about how good the Tigers have played in the last 2 days. Let's go ahead and get into our biggest talking point.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Aside from all of the outliers, statistically speaking, where this hasn't happened since then, and back-to-back games with huge late inning, high runs innings, that sort of thing, all of that said, the biggest takeaway from the last two nights is that this Tigers team has it. They have it. It's in there, and it's such a different tune than what we were all singing on Sunday. I was questioning if this Tigers team had it, and the fact that they've responded to the adversity in the way that they have, and they haven't let any kind of losing streak fester, or back-to-back series losing at home, they didn't let that carry into the road trip, really speaks to the character of this team. And you could say, listen, I understand what this sounds like if you watch Sunday's show and then two games later listen to me praise this team and say, well, it's just all right. And I get it. I'm doing that to myself sometimes. But at the same time, you have to take these two games as and I don't want to get carried away. I'm not saying that, but this is substantial proof that this Tigers team is capable of being very, very dangerous. And listen, I understand that's 180 degree contrary to what I was saying on Sunday, but the last two games really showed what this team can be about. And just baseball will be like that some days and sometimes. And in a short amount of time, this Tigers team switches it around. I think that's the biggest takeaway from tonight, that, oh my goodness, when this team is at their best, they're among the elite. Now, all that said, you fast forward to the postseason and you wonder which Tiger team is going to show up, the team we saw the last two nights, or the team that lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox, the team that went 1-12 at one point, or the team that before the last two games was right at 500 since the All-Star break. So listen, I understand you can accuse me of talking out of both sides of my mouth, but on an instant reaction show after what we just watched the last 2 nights, I'm giving you everything I've got as far as how I feel about this team in this very moment. I would also add, and I think this is important as well, that yes, the Tigers pitching has been in question. However, there's been questions on the other side of things where you got guys that have done it before. And I'm looking at you, Jack Flaherty. He's a guy that, even though he hasn't gotten it done at a consistent level this year, he's had starts. And tonight's another example, albeit only 5 innings, but 5 scoreless innings that you can win with that. You can work with that. Same goes for the bullpen. I know Melton gave up the shutout with the solo home run, but you're going to win a lot of games when you give up 1 run. You're going to win a lot of games when you score 11 runs. And the same being said the previous night with the 12-2 win. So again, I understand you can accuse me of overreacting, but the same way I overreacted on Sunday in a negative light, I'm going to overreact in a positive light as well. And let's not forget, this magic number continues to decrease and decrease. And I know I've said time and time again on this program, I'm not a big magic number guy, but we're into single digits now with the Tigers magic number being at 8. And that said, you start to feel really, really good about maybe even getting a number 1 seed in the American League. And what's most important, of course, is not playing that opening wild card round. That's for sure. Let me give you Jack Flaherty's final line before we get into the comments. 5 innings, allowed just the 2 hits, 7 strikeouts through 99 pitches, 57 of them for strikes. So the 7 strikeouts shows that his swing and miss was looking really good. For Flaherty, he had 9 swing and misses, 20 called strikes, and the 7 Ks again shows that he had the Yankees hitters off balance, and that's crucial. Now, as far as the offense, again, I mentioned Gleyber Torres has the big night, and he was the catalyst early. I don't think you get to that point without Gleyber's big 2-run single, and then the insurance run at the time in a 2-0 game. That insurance run that made it 3-0 was huge, albeit sometimes it's better to be lucky than good with the RBI ground out on kind of the half swing, but that made it 3-0, and then the 2-run homer from Riley Greene in the 8th, just so vintage Riley. That's the term I'm looking for. It was just so emblematic of when he's on and at his best. It's that beautiful left-hand swing, towering fly ball, no doubt about it. I believe that's his 31st home run of the season. Let me just confirm that. And no, I'm sorry, my bad. It's his 33rd home run of the season. And then Kerry Carpenter, same way, which the note I want on Kerry Carpenter's home run, it was awful lefty. So AJ, I know you're a big fan, and Mr. Hinch, I know you're watching more often than not. So when you get around to this episode, just remember that Kerry Carpenter can hit lefties, and he doesn't have to be pinch hit and removed from the game every time he comes up against a lefty. So I'll just say that. All right, let's get into those comments. Garrett leads it off. Another crazy game, and now the best record in the American League again. Yes, American League is important because the Brewers, they're very good in the National League, although they just got swept by the Rangers. Baseball's crazy. I'm telling you, baseball is crazy. Demetrius McNeil is up next. Jake, I must be dreaming. Demetrius, you're not dreaming. I promise, man. Taking it to the Yankees, not once, but twice. 23 runs is totally insane. On to the next one. DJ, take us home with the song. Tigers won again. Britt Bratt 99 is up next. Glad to see the Colt Keith home run. He needed that. Great point. I added that late, or he added that late, I should say, as a pinch hitter. And I had not mentioned that one yet. But yes, Colt Keith comes up big with the 2-run homer, his 13th bomb of the season. And yeah, it's hard. I certainly can't think, and recency bias is always fun with things like this, but I can't think of back-to-back games where you went away feeling as good as we do after these games. I'm looking at Jack Flaherty's highlights right now on the post-game show, and the ability to mix in the off-speed was so impressive. And obviously the 7 strikeouts to 1 walk, you'll take that every day of the week. Got some ground balls and double plays when they needed them the most. Because again, this was similar to last night. This was a close game until the Tigers really broke out. All right. Sean Gray brings up a great point here that I had not mentioned yet. Thank you. He says, what a nice game. Having Meadows back and playing well makes the lineup seem much longer and harder for teams to get through. Yes, Parker Meadows had an RBI single in tonight's game. That helps immensely because, again, you're just looking for ways to feel good about this team. And then in the last two games, they're just giving you ample reasons. And Parker Meadows with that RBI single in the 8th, just continuing to pour it on and add to that huge lead. Okay, let's go ahead and take a few more comments. Braylon Dennis reminds us the Blue Jays lost today. Indeed, that game was going back and forth between the Astros and the Blue Jays, and the Astros eventually win it. I believe it was Yainer Diaz that had a home run in the 9th. I'm not looking at the box score, so somebody help me with that. But yes, great stuff all the way around. Okay, let's take a quick break and we'll continue the post-game show. We'll keep the lights on at the Locked On Podcast Network and be right back to tell you all about the turning point and, of course, our player of the game. That's next on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by Nutrafol. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. And that's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just the hype, my friends. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root cause of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. Whether you're at work, maybe you're out with your friends, or you're even just hanging out watching Tiger baseball, or just getting ready for your routine in the morning, Nutrafol gives you more confidence in your daily routine. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. Nutrafol is Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. Today's episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is also brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. That's right. There's nothing quite like the excitement of the NFL season, and the NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it adds a little more sizzle to my viewing experience, and it fits however you like. Maybe you're betting player props. Those are fun. Or a little parlay. Same game parlay is a lot of fun. And even jumping in live on the action as it unfolds. Whatever you're doing, FanDuel.com. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app right now. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Today's episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is also brought to you by our good friends over at Game Time. There's nothing quite like catching a baseball game live. Maybe you're at Yankee Stadium tonight. There's nothing quite like the energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets. Now that can be the tough part. And for what reason? You got queues, login screens, surprise fees. It all just takes the fun right out of it. And I can't have it. That's why I use Game Time. It's the app that gives you the advantage, and it gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. And don't even forget about this one. Fees are included. You know your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Because I'm a simple person. I want to see the price and know that that's the price I'm paying. That's how Game Time works. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Here we go. It's back-to-back nights of double-digit wins over the New York Yankees. Chalk that up under things you love to see. Let's get into our biggest turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Again, just like last night, there were instances where this game was really close. It was hotly contested, and it felt like that intense matchup against another really good team until the floodgates opened. And hard to pinpoint one of those instances, one of those important at-bats, just like last night, that really you could chalk up and classify as your turning point. But what I will say is the double plays that this Tigers defense turned, all three of them were turning points in minimizing the Yankees' threat. And again, when the game was closed, you needed that defense to continue to provide opportunities for the offense to eventually get to Yankees pitching and the Yankees bullpen. And that's what you saw for the second straight night. So team effort, team baseball, that's what the Tigers are doing right now. Complementary defense setting up the offense, just like we see in football or other sports. And I know it's kind of, cheesy to use that analogy in baseball. But again, some of those double plays to get the twin killings, the pitcher's best friend, get the Tigers back in the dugout, and eventually they break through. All right, how about our player of the game?
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I am torn on this one because you got Gleyber Torres. I really believe this game is not won without Gleyber Torres because his first 2-run single and then the RBI ground out that made it 3-0. For a while, we thought that might be the only damage this offense does, but I got to give an honorable mention to Jack Flaherty as well. He was so good tonight for 5 innings. If you give us 5 shutout innings, we're going to take it. That's for sure. All right, so I'll go, and I'm curious who you think in the comments. Let me know. Is it Gleyber or is it Jack Flaherty? And of course, you know what? I might hear it from some folks out there, and that's fine, but I'm okay with some player of the games tonight as well. Saw one comment in the chat. Who are the Tigers pitching tomorrow? They have not yet announced it. They're talking about it on the broadcast today. Sawyer Gipson-Long is going to be used in a prominent role, but no word whether or not he'll actually be the starter or if there will be an opener for him. But that being said, we're going to see Sawyer Gipson-Long tomorrow. Cam Schlittler for the New York Yankees will go. And it's not a day game, which kind of weird that it's not on getaway day. I probably make a bigger deal of this than anybody else, but it's getaway day. Play a day game. It's Thursday. What are we doing here? Yankee Stadium. Come on. Bop, bop. Tigers got to go to Miami after this. Maybe I'm just being picky. And I love day baseball. That's probably why too. Not that the Tigers can't get the sweep done tomorrow night, which they will. 7:05 first pitch will be on the air following the conclusion of the game. So thanks so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to be on the air with each and every one of you. And a great question here from the Dull Spoon that we end it with. Are we back? I say yes. I say yes, we are back. And to Rufus T. Cat, tomorrow is my birthday. Let's get a sweep. I can't think of a better birthday present for our friend Rufus T. Cat. For you, for the Tigers, for everybody else, let's get that sweep tomorrow. Looking forward to being on the post-game show with everybody. In the meantime, make sure you check out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley. We'll have to get him on a post-game show. It's been far too long since we've done that. Scott, a good buddy of mine. Okay, thanks so much, and see you next time. Have a wonderful night. Love you guys.